Oh my gosh. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. And I have a special guest and a special friend I am honored to call friend. This guy is the real deal. He is fun, entertaining, but also I have learned a ton from him just in the past few weeks on Clubhouse. He has worked with Tony Robbins for a little over 2 decades. I'm going to let him talk to you about that. But today, welcome, Tony Rodrigues.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I met you a couple years ago through EXP because we were both realtors, and it was a great trip. It was a Florida trip, and we had seen also and spoke with Gene Frederick, and now shoot to 2 years later, we somehow stumbled across each other in this world called Clubhouse. Wild. So why don't you educate people on Clubhouse and everybody? This guy is a top influencer. He has over 17,000 followers in Clubhouse, which is still in its beta phase. So Tony, explain, what in your words does Clubhouse mean to you?
Well, Clubhouse is just a ridiculous platform. What I like about Clubhouse, and the thing that is most impressive, is it's all audio, right? So it's not video. You can't be all doctored up and dolled up, and oh, now you've highlighted me. So, I didn't do my hair and makeup. So it really is just about it's about who you are and how you're communicating, right? Using your voice and using the power of your voice and the way you enunciate, the way you speak, the way you come across. It's not a rehearsed thing. It's all on the fly, so to speak. So, and I love that because there's so many people that when they speak, they say the same thing over and over again, exactly the same way. And I'm like, I couldn't even do that if I wanted to, right? So everything that I say just kind of comes out, however it comes out. Yet, what the power of Clubhouse is that it's absolutely, I mean, it's turned decades into days. You can, if there was already with social media, there was already no longer 6 degrees of separation. There were
That's right.
probably only 3 or 4 for most people at the most. Now it's like 1, right? Because we all, you meet somebody, you make an acquaintance, and I've met so many amazing, fascinating people, so much opportunity. And like I'm saying, it's like turning decades into days. And for me, it's like the app was made for me, right? Because I love to speak, I love to share, and that's what I've been doing for the last 7 weeks or so. Actually, it's going on 8 weeks now that I've been in.
How long does
And
it
it's the
feel
first.
though?
It
It's
feels
eight
like it's
weeks,
been a
but how
year,
doesn't
to
it
be
feel like
honest with you.
long?
Well,
It
it
doesn't feel
does for
long?
me for 2 reasons. Number one, it's how well it's how many people I've met in a short amount of time, but also I've been putting in a lot of hours. I mean, I think I've told you, Stacy, in the first month I really committed to being in really full time, and I was probably putting in 16 hours a day. Of course, that's not me in front of holding the phone for 16 hours. I'm still,
Right.
meeting clients, and I'm still having the one-on-one because I do high-end. I do high-end. I should say it that way. I do high-level, high-performance strategy sessions. Right. I don't even like to say I'm a coach because everybody and their mother these days is a coach. So,
Right.
and I hate to say it that way because whoever's listening is probably like, "Hey, that hurt." Well, I'm probably not talking to you, and if I am, sorry.
Well,
There's a lot of people that read a book and go to a course, and all of a sudden they're a coach. And so there's coaches and there's coaches, right? So and again, that's not to knock anyone. Yet, so yeah, I do high level strategy sessions for people both on life and in business. So that's what I'm passionate about. Being with Tony, having the opportunity for the last 11 years specifically to be on his leadership in his leadership program and be a trainer now for I don't even know 4 years now. I've had the opportunity to travel the world and help thousands of people through his events, and been put in tough opportunities, tough places to help people grow through some really tough stuff. So, and I've been through tough stuff, which is why I joined and
yes.
started learning from him in the first place. And now I'm just sharing that with other people. As a matter of fact, like I said, I'm wearing the shirt because I'm actually in the event right now. I just took a little break to come on here and join you and your audience. So.
And we appreciate it. So why don't you tell the people, what event are you doing for Tony Robbins? How long is it? What do you focus on?
So this event's called Unleash the Power Within. So it's a UPW, Unleash the Power Within, and it's really about doing the inner work. So Tony wrote a book years ago called Awaken the Giant Within, and this is basically the program for that. It's a 4-day intensive program, probably 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day. Today will probably, I've been on since, well, the participants started coming about 9:30. We're probably going to go till about 2:30 in the morning today, 2 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully not that long, but it'll definitely be at minimum 1 o'clock in the morning. So it does go for quite a while. But it is a life-changing event. It's so life-changing that I've been through myself as a participant 3 or 4 times before I
Oh my
started
gosh.
crewing the events, and then did all the events along the way. And it is a life-changing event. It changed my life, and so now I'm here as a trainer for him. While I'm a trainer for Tony, I'm not technically an employee. They give us some compensation, but really, it's nobody's doing this for the money. It's still a contribution that I'm giving back to because it helped me so much. So I'm here to help other people go through the program as well.
I love that. And what I'm learning through Clubhouse
I
and
can't
meeting
hear you,
people like,
Casey. I don't.
oh no, can you hear me now?
Yeah, the audio is a little off. I don't know if it's you or me, but the audio is a little choppy.
Okay. I like the element of Clubhouse because it allowed me to connect with you and other people even more on a level that we could never do. For Tony Robbins, I know that you have trained and been to Unleash the Power. What do you think? So when people see him and they go to these events or they see him on TV, how would you describe him off camera when he's off? What is he really like? Is he really like that? I think that's what some people would love to know.
Yes, he is actually. He is larger than life. He is a giant of a man. Literally, I mean, I'm 6'1" and he's like 6'7" or something. It just makes me look like a toddler next to him. Uh, so yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, by all intents and purposes, everyone I happen to be friends with several of his close friends, and they say that he's a real deal. And I've always known him as being exactly who you see is who you get. Now, certainly he's a businessman as well, right? So he's got that in him. He's not, he's all about he's very mission driven, and he's also a businessman. So yeah, but no, he's the real deal, which is why me and so many other people continue to support him and his mission to help change other people's lives as he's helped change mine.
It's awesome. And I love you're right. You don't say the same thing every time and every day that we talk Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., the success.com breakfast club room. Anyone, if you have not been on there, definitely jump on. It's the best hour for me of the day. It helps jumpstart my day. Tony, you're up at least an hour, 2 hours before we even start. You're walking your dog. I don't even know, I don't know how you get your energy, and I would love to know what you eat, what you drink, what vitamins you take, because your energy is always at such a high level. I love it. And people feed off of it. Like when they hear your voice on Clubhouse, they can't see you. They can't do emojis or anything like that. But your voice, it wakes people up. It energizes people. I love it. Like Monday through Friday, this is my favorite part. I flipping love it. So let me ask you this real quick. Now that I have you, 1 week we had talked about leveraging, and there's 4 ways that we can leverage. Can you talk to people a little bit about that, like leveraging people or time, or your thing is personal growth? So can you talk to people maybe about leveraging personal growth and what that means?
Listen, I think that leverage is great, and what's the leverage that you got on yourself, right? What are your goals and why it is that you're doing it? I think the personal growth and personal development is a huge component of life and my success, certainly, because and I say that everybody really should think about doing that inner work, whether it's with Tony Robbins or someone else, because um, essentially it's doing the inner work and figuring out why it is that you do what you do and how you do it and why you respond and react the way you react, right? What's the pain point? What's the pleasure point? What is it that you're doing and why are you doing it? Because when you can understand why you do what you do, because so many times we react and we say things and we don't even know why we're doing it. It's just programming, right? Um, so so when you can figure out what is it you do and how and why you do it, then you can also you can figure out why other people are doing and saying what it is that they're doing and saying, you know. So let me just stop the video here. I just realized my video is still on these cameras, and they're probably like, what the hell are you talking? Who are you talking to? Uh, so so I think that it's important to understand yourself so you can understand others, you know. Doing that inner work and that self-discovery is such an important part of that. And then again, as far as leverage goes, it's about figuring out what it is that you want, what it is that you really want, and how bad do you want it, and why do you want it, and finding that leverage point. And you know, as I'm pretty good at finding leverage. I mean, you've never seen me kind of in action, so to speak, when I'm doing, because basically as a trainer, what a trainer is, people say, well, you know, and Don sometimes miss explains it. He says that I'm a coach with Tony Robbins, and I'm not. I'm not a coach for Tony. I am, you know, I am a quote unquote, I am a coach, yet not for Tony Robbins. I'm a trainer for Tony Robbins, which is vastly different. Vastly different. A coach will, you know, will coach. Well, a coach is going to coach you through whatever you're going through. And if you've been to a Tony Robbins event, and if you haven't, you know, I encourage everyone, get on Netflix, and it's for free. Check out I Am Not Your Guru by Tony Robbins. He basically teaches us what it is that he does. Those interventions, that's what we can do. That's what we're taught to do. That's where, you know, it's the questions that we ask. It's those, finding those pressure points. It's finding that leverage, and helping people really have the breakthroughs that they want to have, and that they really need to have, or they feel that they want to have. So so yeah, finding leverage is certainly the key to all of it. And you can find your own leverage. And if you can't, then you can need to speak to someone like me that's going to help you find it and really
And you bring up
push
a
you.
good point. What would you suggest to people who don't know where to go? So should they listen to, like, what would you encourage people to listen to for Audible, or maybe a book to read, or how, like, if someone has never had a coach or a trainer, what would you suggest they do to maybe help them in their life or career?
Listen, I would absolutely. I'd start straight away by watching I Am Not Your Guru, because that's easy. That's free. It's 2 hours. You're going to get, you know, it's going to create an opening. I would absolutely recommend the book on Audible, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. He wrote it 30 years ago, 35. I don't even know how many years ago. A long time ago. And it's an amazing book. It's an amazing read. It dives so deep into the human psyche, because really what it is about practical everyday human psychology. Ultimately, that's what it is. It'll make you a better person for you, for your family. It'll make you a better communicator. It'll make you a better realtor. It'll make you it'll just make you better, right? Because you start to look at yourself in a different way. You start to appreciate yourself in a different way. So I would absolutely, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins is a huge one. There's so many books. You know, there's so many books by, you know, Stephen Covey, you know, has that's the one that Don talks about all the time. Now I'm drawing a blank.
Think and
The
Grow
Habits of
Rich?
Highly Successful People,
Right.
I believe is.
Yes.
Well, Think and Grow Rich is absolutely, Napoleon Hill is another huge one. And you know, there's just tons of books, tons of resources. You just look it up, and you know, The Habits of Highly Successful People. You know, I'm not, you know, even though I'm in my office, my bookshelf is actually out in my sunroom with all my books. Otherwise, I'd look at them and give you a bunch of them right now. So yeah, there's just tons of information out there. I would definitely start with those.
So we started this morning at 7, and we could ask questions. You could ask all the coaches questions. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about how you got to where you are now, and what made you think of, maybe you started out in real estate, but then what made you want to navigate and start really deep diving into personal growth? If you could share some things about your background and your upbringing and what brought you to us today.
Well, again, personal. So my upbringing. Well, you know, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Portugal, came here when I was 6 years old. I didn't have a happy childhood, I guess we'll say. You know, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and they say, I'd love to go back and be a child again. And I say, yeah, actually, I wouldn't. unless I could know what I know now. I don't want to go back. I wouldn't want to live. I wouldn't want to relive my life again, just because it was not a good place for me. It was not a good time. I was told that I would never amount to anything. I was, everything that you want to tell your kid, I heard the opposite of from my father. There's a lot of just violence and domestic violence and just not a good place. And listen, I've made peace with my father. I've forgiven, and he's not a bad man. He just didn't know any better. And so many times where people do things because they don't know any better. They do things because that's what they know, and sometimes they can't give you what they don't have, right? But what I did get is I got what I needed because, one of the things that I learned from Tony Robbins early on was that life is happening for you, not to you. And
Yes, I love that
I didn't
line.
have the childhood that I wanted, the childhood that I deserved. Yeah. And I didn't have the childhood I wanted, the childhood I deserved, the father I wanted and deserved. I didn't have it. But I got exactly what I needed to have to become the man that I am today. Right. And we need to remember that, all the shit that's happening in our lives, and we got to be grateful for all the difficult people, all the backstabbers, all the nasty mother effers that come into our life. We have to be grateful for
Exactly.
them because they teach us who not to be. They teach us what we will not tolerate. They teach us how to be better, right? How to be better and not to be like that person. So, one thing Tony talks about all the time is effective blaming effectively. And if you're going to blame somebody for the bad, you got to blame them for the good. I've got to blame my father for my work ethic. I've got to blame my father for who I am today because I am who I am because of the shit that he put me through, and my siblings and everything else, right? So this concept of blaming effectively is a really good one. And listen, there's a lot that goes behind that, right? There's forgiveness, there's gratitude, there's just letting shit go. So many times we hang on to shit that we're supposed to let go of, right? And it's just an important part of growing up. I say that growing up is learning and then unlearning and then learning again, right? Because half the time we've got to unlearn the shit that was taught to us by people that didn't know what the hell they were doing in the first place, because the people that taught them didn't know what the hell they were doing, right? So, when you look at things from that perspective, because really life is about perspective. When you look at things from that perspective, you look at things and understand why maybe that person felt or acted or reacted. Not saying it's right. Not saying any of it's right. I'm saying, okay, well, yeah, it sucks and I understand. As the saying goes, hurt people, and hurt people hurt people. And if you don't heal what hurts you, you're going to bleed on people that didn't cut you, right? So it's really about doing the inner work so that you can stop, and many times stop the what's the word I'm looking for? Break the chain, right? Stop the normal course of what would be. I'm not the father that my father was to me. I'm not that father to my kids. I'm not the husband to my wife. I'm not, that's just not who I wanted to be. So the cycle, broke the cycle. That's what I was looking for. So I broke the cycle.
Yes. I'm thinking like of our time in Clubhouse, and when you had said, there's two twins and they both had an alcoholic father, and one chose, you're going to say it better than I, but one chose to not act like he did, and the other one fell suit. And what was the
Right.
other son's excuse, or what was his wording, or not accepting responsibility?
Right. Basically what that was. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this right.
That's all right.
One son said, of course I became a public defender or a prosecutor. I forget what it was. Of course I became an attorney, and because what choice did I have? Look at the father that I had. My father was an alcoholic. He was a criminal, spent his life in prison. I didn't want to be that man. What choice did I have? I had to become this. Then he spoke to then they did an interview to the other brother, who's a criminal, drug addict, and was in prison. And he said, of course I was going to turn out that way. Look at the example that I had. Who else was I going to be? Look at my father, right? So, twins lived and grew up exactly in the same situation and got vastly different results, right? So we're all different. And, we all we all have a decision to make with what we decide things are going to mean. This is something that Tony Robbins says all the time. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. What meaning did you give to that circumstance? I really got screwed. He really effed me over. Well, did he? Or did he just, was he, how harsh are you using those words? Because, sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you really do get railroaded. Sometimes you do get run over. Yeah, sometimes it was just something that was not that big of a deal and you made it a huge deal. There's people that don't speak for months and years over a misunderstanding. There's people that hurt you and you never told them they hurt you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, sorry, a call came in. I had to knock that out. So they don't even know that they hurt you. And meantime, you stop speaking to them and they don't even know why. Because they didn't even know that they hurt you, because maybe they did something that to them was no big deal. They're like,
Right.
why are they so upset? And for you, it was devastating. He screwed me over. Well, no, he just didn't show up at the appointment that he promised he would to help you with something. And they couldn't make it because something came up and you never clarified why or how important it was. And maybe you lost the deal and you feel you got screwed over, so you don't communicate anymore. You stop doing business with them. They're like, the hell, what happened to Stacy? What did I do? Meantime, all they did was miss an appointment, and you didn't even realize the intensity of it. So just as a simple example of what happened and what could happen, right?
Yeah.
Communication.
We go through this every day, and I can't emphasize enough. From 7 to 8 on Clubhouse, every day is a learning day. It's either like coaching or it's therapy, but everybody gets something out of it and gives. And my mind is blown by how much I've learned in the amount of time that I've learned and been able to share and honestly be a better version of myself. And that 1 hour means now it's an hour and a half, as you know. It flies by.
You mean 7 to 8, sometimes 8:30?
So, dude, I love that. People, if you are not on Clubhouse, you have to go on it, and you'll quickly figure out that it is addicting. But who you surround yourself with, that's another thing that I learned. The top 5, what is it? The average of the 5 people define who you are. Really, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. I love that one, because who you spend time with and the choices that we make every day, from when we wake up to what we eat and put in our bodies to what we watch on social media, all the stuff that's out there and the news and what the news wants you to see. So by joining Clubhouse and talking to people like you, I've learned, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to say no to. I'm going to say no to certain social media, all the news. And when that happens, or when that's happened for me, my stress level has totally dropped. My energy levels have gone up. I'm learning, I'm growing, and I love your tagline, Get Up and Grow. And it's made all the difference for me and my attitude, my mindset, every facet. But just doing these little things like we do in the mornings from 7 to 8 on Clubhouse, success.com, and Don Hobbs running the show. And you, honestly, you really keeping track of time and people who are talking and questions and stuff like that. I flipping love it. Like, I don't know if you are maybe spoiled and like, yeah, Stace, I hang out with these people, or, I've done Tony Robbins and stuff like that. It's like mind blowing. It is incredible. I can't even articulate in the right manner what it's done for me, and as a result, my family and friends. How about you? Like, what do you?
Listen, I love that. I love what you said. And yes, thank you for that. And, one of the things I say sometimes to people, and I had this conversation with someone in particular that, and you may have heard me mention her before, a friend of mine, Dana, who is a quadriplegic in recovery after 30 years. And I'm not to share a sad story, but how I met her was at a Tony Robbins event. So amazing. Again, story for another day. I'll just say that, powerful. I met her and I helped her through something, and then I said, "So we'll put you in this chair." And she said, "Well, when I was 18 years old, baby, another sailor raped me. He choked me into the cliff and left me dead." And I'm like, again, there's more context to that story, and that I can share another time. And so anyway, she's been in recovery. She's regaining like a little bit of movement here and there, through meditation, and she's done stem, all this. So, again, not to get. And at one point, in the conversation, she said, "Listen, you're in, like, Tony, I'm just living my life. I'm just living my life. I'm not, I'm not. How am I an inspiration to anyone? I'm just living I'm a quadriplegic. Things, I'm my life." And I turned to her and I said, "Dana, just because the extraordinary has become ordinary to you doesn't mean it's not extraordinary to somebody else." And I say that because, sometimes, we learn things, and so for us, sometimes difficult things become easy, and we take it for granted that they're not easy. Right? They're easy for us now, but they weren't easy for us before. The fact that I can pick up a phone or get on camera and just speak my mind, speak my heart, it's easy for me. But God damn it, that was not always easy, right? It's become ordinary. It's really no big deal. Like, people are like, well, I'm going to send you questions. But you're like, oh, I don't even want to see your questions. Just ask me. I'd rather go off the cuff. But that's because I've created and I've made who I am, right? So to back to your point, we take for granted what it is that we know about business, what we know about life. The way I speak, in the morning, and who know me to be, that's who I am. That's not a version of me. I mean, yes, it is a version of me, right? Because we all have a dark side, but for the most part, that is who I am. I'm not two things to two different people, four things to four different people. Oh, well, I'm speaking to a really wealthy bunch of people, I got to be this. I'm speaking to this. Now, granted, do you adjust to the environment you're in? Yes, but I'm still the same person, right? And I think that that's important. So sometimes, the things that we've learned and we've picked up along the way that have become ordinary for us are still extraordinary to other people. And and sometimes I stop back and I think about that. Look, I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else. I'm not. I just know that I don't know what I don't know. And I know that everyone I meet knows something that I don't, and I can learn something from everyone. Doesn't matter who it is. And everybody knows something I don't. So when you live your life in that curious mindset, and that mindfulness of other people, it changes life. It changes the way you look at things. I will say that, and I think you've heard me say this. I was a kid that was suicidal at 16 because my life sucked, and I didn't do it yet. And then I like to say that God has a sense of humor, so He killed me at 18. I don't know. Maybe you haven't heard this story.
Oh, you told me in Florida. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. So I went through a windshield in a vicious way. And fortunately, my body stayed in the car, because if my hips hadn't kept me in the car, I would have gone out and hit into the vans that we hit on the side of the road. I would have been dead. Yet I woke up in the hospital and looked down at my body and said, 4-letter word, who's going to tell my mom I'm dead? And I will say that it was the most peaceful moment of my life. I can't even explain it. It was wondrous. It was, I don't even know. I can't even express. It's hard for me to quantify that, put it into words, as many times as I've said it. So, that was a life-changing event for me. So I'm living my second life, right? I'm on life number 2. That's why my Instagram handle is Tony Rodrigues 2.0, because I'm on my second life. And sometimes it takes that impact. It takes something major to have you make that shift. And I don't know why I started going into that story, which, by the way, is a side effect of that accident. By the way, I had some brain trauma, so sometimes I lose my thought, and that still goes back to that era, actually.
Well, I think it's shifting, and you did answer it, because when we started, I said, how did you get to where you are? And knowing your background and the accident that you had when you were 18 years old, you turned around and made a choice. We all have choices.
Right.
And you made the choice to get to where you are today. You didn't go down one way, which you easily could have.
Right.
And the people that you were hanging out with, some of them, and you didn't.
Yeah, listen, I could have been a statistic 100%. So what I was going to say is that accident shifted my life. And what I was saying before, when I met Tony Robbins, I learned that, life is happening for me, not to me. And I really understood and finally believed it I realized that even that accident that I thought that came to destroy my life and really F up my life because, memory and body pain and everything else that came with it, I realized that accident didn't come to ruin my life. It didn't come to knock me off course. It came to put me exactly on the course that I needed to get to. I might have been dead if not for that accident. I don't know where I would have been. I can bet all of it that I wouldn't be where I am today. I can bet all of it, so I've lived, right? I was afraid of deep water because I almost drowned a couple times as a kid. I couldn't swim. I started scuba diving without knowing how to swim.
Gosh.
I was afraid of heights. I started skydiving. If it went fast, I strapped my ass to it, and that was my drug. My drug was adrenaline, right? If it went fast, if it scared me, I did it because I never felt more alive than when I was on the edge. And if I was going to die tomorrow, I wanted to live today. I wanted to experience life. I wanted to have a life that I lived, not just existed. Oscar Wilde says that the rarest thing of all is to live, because most people just exist. Right. And they exist because they keep reliving those same shitty situations, those bad deals, those bad relationships. They keep reliving that shit over and over again. That's why there's that other saying. I forget if maybe Winston Churchill, I don't know who said this quote. Somebody much smarter than I, right, said, some people, a lot of people die at 25 and are only buried at 75. Right, because they live the same year over and over. And sometimes they die at 20 and they only get buried at 75 or 80 because they live the same year after year after year, because they haven't grown through what they've gone through. Hence the whole thing, get up and grow. Because we all fall and we all get up and go. But what we need to do is we need to get up and grow, because until we grow through what we go through, we keep going through it. Right? Until we learn the lesson that life is trying to teach us, until we pass that test, we're going to keep taking the damn lesson. Why does this shit keep happening to me? Because you haven't learned the lesson. But why does this keep happening? Because you haven't learned the lesson. And I've told this to people over and over again. You haven't learned the lesson. What's the lesson? What's life trying to teach you? Listen. So I'll just say this, and I don't know how much longer you want to go. The whole Get Up and Grow movement that I've created, I didn't find it; it found me. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He called me late at night one night. It was 10:30, and he calls me up and he starts telling me all this stuff that's happening in his life. And oh my God, this is difficult. I said, dude, stop. Are you telling me your story or just repeating mine? And he's like, I know, that's why I'm calling you. How the hell are you so positive? How do you, I said, listen, it's a daily ritual. You've got to do the things you need to do for your own mental health, especially on the days you don't feel like doing them, on the days that you're not grateful, on the days that you feel like shit. That's when you need to have those positive incantations. That's when you need to have that morning ritual, that morning routine that's going to make you focus on what you're grateful for, that's going to make you really do the things that you need to do for your own mental, physical, and emotional health. And I said, and he says, but how did you do it? I said, listen, 2.5 years ago, at the time I went through a 5-year, it's called a business divorce. It was such a brutal, someone who I was friends with 35 years, business partners for 25, it literally, it was a 7-figure court battle just on my side. That's legal fees. That's not money's lost. There was a lot more money lost. And when I was telling him about it, I says, everything was fine. I was comfortable. The comfort zone is a very dangerous place. I was comfortable. And, this was happening. He was going through divorce, and all of a sudden he decided to blow everything up. And he came in and boom, it's like I got by a bus. And that was just in pain. I didn't understand why. And I'm like, why did this happen? And boom, more pain. And this is the first time I've ever said it in this way, because I don't know where the words came from, but they did. It says, and then God said, grow, and I said no. And boom, more pain. And God said, grow, and I said no. And God said, grow, and I said no. More pain, more pain, more pain. At one point, my son comes in and says, good night, Dad. I said, all right, good night. Go upstairs, brush your teeth, whatever. I get back on the phone. And I'm like, hey, well, and he says, dude, just keep reading. I'm like, reading what? I wasn't reading. Matter of fact, what was I saying? Completely lost the thread of what I was saying. He says, and he started saying this. So I picked up on it again. I kept going. And then at one point I was vacationing in Brazil for a family wedding. And I said, what am I doing? Cause I was denying the fact of what was happening. I was saying, no, I can fix it, because I'm the fix-it guy. I help people fix their relationships. I help people fix their businesses. This is who I am. I'm a communicator. We've been friends for a long time. There's no way this is happening. Well, it was happening. And the ex-girlfriend had to come back in the picture, who hated me, and they're basically plotting against me. They literally, for 9 months, until I woke up and realized that, yeah, this is actually happening and I can't fix it. I was even deeper in the hole than I ever thought I would have been. But the day that I realized, shit, this is real and I can't change it. I remember I was in Brazil and I'm like, stop. And the minute that happened, the pain went away.
The moment you
Pain went
stop
away.
trying to fix it.
Well, no, the moment I, God said grow and I said no, and I was not growing because I was refusing to see and admit and realize what was going on. I was saying no, I didn't want to grow, and more pain, more pain. The minute I realized it, and I'm like, oh shit, this is happening. I got to fight back, or I got to do what I've got to do. Literally, I grew. That's the moment I grew, and the pain went away. And I'm like, okay, it just is. Until about a month later, when he filed another frivolous lawsuit bullshit. And then boom, God said grow. And I said no. And I went through the cycle again. Now, the amazing thing, I helped him out a lot. And I called him the next day. I'm like, dude, can you take me through what happened yesterday? Because I didn't even realize it. I was coaching him, but I don't even know where those words came from. Now, the impressive thing about this, 2 months later, when I was sharing that story with someone, literally, I was sharing the story. I'm like, holy shit. That story was for me. And even though the words came out of my mouth, only 2 months later did I realize that, holy shit, I was in pain. I was suffering by choice. I was suffering because God was saying to grow and I was saying no. So, there's something that Tony Robbins says all the time is that pain is part of life. Suffering is a choice. I was choosing to suffer because I was choosing to deny what was right in front of me. I was choosing not to see what was right in front of me. So that was causing my suffering. That was causing my pain because I was refusing to grow past that. So that was life giving me a lesson, and I was refusing to accept the lesson, to learn the lesson. So there was pain. So God said grow came out from that, and get up and grow is really what it is, because we all fall, but we don't all grow. And every single time we fall, we should learn. And every time we get up, we should grow. And every single time we fall, we have an opportunity to get up and grow. But most people just get up and go. So until you look back, until you got to be almost a forensic pathologist, right? And you got to study your fall with this curiosity of like Sherlock Holmes, and ask yourself, because you ever have a fall or a car accident, that moment between, oh crap, and you actually hit the ground, or you hit the other vehicle, seems like it's like 2 minutes long, though it happened in a second. We've all had that experience, right? I'm sure you have. So I want everybody to think about a mistake that they've made. And I want you to just go back and really analyze with curiosity and really pay attention and ask yourself, why did I fall? Was I pushed? Did I slip? Did I trip? Was there, what happened? What caused me to fall? As I'm going down, was there somebody trying to help me to keep me from falling? Who was laughing? Who was worried? When I hit the ground, was there something or someone there to help me cushion the fall? Or was there nothing there? And when I was there, was there someone there to try to help me or guide me? Or were you by yourself? And keeping in mind that sometimes when we fall down the hole, we fall down is because there's something down there we're supposed to find. And many times it's to find ourselves. And it's to find whatever that thing is. So that is the lesson, right? We fall, that thing we're supposed to find is that lesson when we fall. And then when you're down there, how long were you down? And why were you down that long? Was somebody keeping you down? Or was somebody trying to build you up? Was somebody inspiring you? Or somebody telling you, ha, I knew it. You thought you were big and bad. Look at you now, bitch. Right? And then when you were trying to get up again, who was supporting you, saying, yes, you can do it. Yes. Or who was saying, you're not going to make it. You're lucky you're lucky you did what you did in the first place. And how many people that were at your table while you were doing well have completely disappeared? All the people you helped, was anybody there trying to give you a hand? So as you're trying to climb that wall back up, who was giving you a hand? Who was trying to keep you down? Who was laughing at you? Who was supporting you? And then when you got back up, who wanted to come back and sit back at your table? So there's so many lessons to be learned in a fall. There's so many lessons to be learned in a failure. So you've got to remain curious. You've got to be that forensic pathologist. You've got to be Sherlock Holmes. You've got to learn, you've got to find those nuggets. You've got to find the gift in all of those lessons, in all of those falls, and all of those mistakes. So if you fall down 7 times, you get up 8 times or 9 times or whatever it is. You know, and I had somebody ask me, Tony, how can you get up 8 times if you've ever only fallen 7? So I tell them, well, you know, did you come out of your mom running? Or did you crawl before you can walk? Or you're on the ground before you can stand? So you're always on the ground first, right? So yeah, you fall down 7 times, you get up 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, right? However many times you got to get up, and just don't give up. Because remember that when you give up, you're giving something or someone the satisfaction of your failure, of your demise.
I love when you said, and you could tell anyone that's watching that you were getting energized talking about when you made that shift and when you made that connection. It was an adrenaline rush. And I feel like for you, you said anything that was fast, that's what I did. That's what I love because I loved adrenaline. I feel like you get adrenaline from helping people in Clubhouse and in life in general. And that's your biggest rush. And you're really good at it. Like every time you talk, I'm like, all right, damn, I got to remember this. If you're not growing, you're dying. So stuff like that, whether it comes from you or whoever else, the way that you own it, it doesn't matter. And the way that you can translate for people in an easy to understand manner so that people can make their own breakthrough, that's powerful. That's the coolest thing I have seen. And I see it with you day in and day out on a consistent basis. It's really cool. It's awesome. Very cool.
Thank you. You know what I say? I don't. My life is a script. My life is a script. Even if you hear me say the same thing every single day, I guarantee you it's not coming out exactly the same. Just because, you know, I'm speaking from the heart. You know what I tell people about communication? It's only 7% of the words we use is the communication. Everything else is your inflection, your tone, your speed, your tempo. However it is, whether you're smiling or you're not smiling, whether you're moving, you're not moving, whether your shoulders are down. And hell, just my moving my shoulders down kind of changes the way my voice comes out of my mouth, right? Or am I back and excited? Do I have enough air in my lungs? Am I breathing, right? There's so much into communication. And you've heard me say before, you know, some people just speak from their head. They're cerebral. They just speak that way. Well, when you speak that way, it gets heard in the person's head and not felt emotionally. Yet if you speak from the heart, it gets felt in the heart. Right? You can feel the energy. It's an energetic transference when you're having a really quality conversation. So this is the way I speak. This is the way I've learned to be. And I've learned to be this way, right? I was a shy kid growing up. You wouldn't know me. Nobody would know me. I was a shy kid, like super shy, right? So, and I own the information that I know, right? I own who I am. I own the word. And I think that's a big, I don't have to think about, you know, oh, what am I going to say next? I don't think about what I'm going to say next. And I know you've heard me say, listen, I'm just going to say this. I don't know why it came to mind, but I'm going to say it because maybe it's just not get all spiritual because I'm not that energy guy. I mean, I believe in energy and everything else. Yet if I say something, it's because I believe for whatever it came to me to say for a reason. And maybe somebody in this room needed to hear the stories that I've just shared because I could have shared 1,000 other things with you. Right. But perhaps I'm sharing this because you asked me and guided me somewhere where I needed to go. And maybe there were just other things that came in that maybe I'm saying because somebody that's either here live needing to hear it or somebody that's going to hear it later on. Right. So but I own the words. They are many of the things I've learned are other people's words.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins is a great delivery system. Don Hobbs is a great delivery system. All these speakers, there's very few words that will ever string together that haven't been spoken before in the thousands of years before us. Right? Outside of technological terms, those have been created and those are being said. Yet, you know, I saw something today that I was going to post, but I'm like, you know, maybe it's just not appropriate to post right now at this moment. But I'll read it to you. Hold on, let me see if I can.
Yeah, let's go.
Find it. This one is great, and I didn't post it because it's kind of a political statement, right? So check this out. What have we learned in 2076 years? Right? Oh darn! Just dropped that. Hold on. What have we learned in 2076 years? Here's a quote. The budget should be balanced. The treasury should be refilled. Public debt should be reduced. The arrogance
of officialdom should be tempered and controlled, and the assistance to foreign lands should be curtailed, lest Rome become bankrupt. People must again learn to work instead of living off of public assistance. Cicero, 55 BC.
Damn. That's awesome.
Isn't it funny how those very same words apply to not just certain
The same exact words.
Right? So Cicero said that, 55 BC. Now there's politicians saying the same words practically. Right? So just an example of the words that people say that they claim to be theirs. Yeah, well, I mean, they're yours because you said them now, but are they really? So I just like to just point that out. And even the thoughts that we have, the negative thoughts that we have, just remember that your thoughts are not yours alone. The other people have had the same thoughts. So maybe it's just what's going on in the ether, and then that thought just hit you, and it probably hit 1,000 other people at the same time. Why is it that you have a thought, oh my God, it'd be great if I can invent this? You know, I'll never forget this. And my wife is brilliant, right? About 10, 12 years ago, you know, and we're sitting in our other home, and, you know, we're finding the remote control, and she couldn't remember what channel, what was on. She's like, wouldn't it be great if somebody can just speak into the remote control and like the TV will change? I'm like, that'd be cool, but man, how difficult is that? And God damn it, if like, you know, 7, 8 years ago, 4 or 5 years later, somebody did it. Well, guess what? Somebody else had the same exact idea at the same time, except they acted on it, right?
She is brilliant. I've heard inventions before. She nailed it.
And I swear that was at least 3, 4 years before it came out. I swear it. But what I'm saying is the same time that that idea hit her, it probably hit another 1,000 or 5 or 1 million people. I don't know. So even our thoughts may not be ours alone. So that's why I say when you have a negative thought, and instead of just living in that misery and that bullshit, just imagine that it's like clouds going by in the sky. Oh, look, there goes another shitty thought. Going, gone. Great. You know, and just let them go on by. Don't live in them. You don't have to be, you know, that Charlie Brown character that has the storm cloud over their head, with a dust cloud around them the whole time. Just keep on going. It's not yours. You know, it's just out there. So I know I just been a little more energetic and spiritual on you. That's not
that's what I want, because we didn't we had no format, we had no questions. I didn't send you any questions. Good. And I'm laughing because Sarah, who's behind the scenes, is like, what are you going to talk about? I'm like, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. We're going to share.
Stacey, you want to hear a secret? If you guys sent me the questions, I probably wouldn't have answered them.
I love that. That's why I love you. We've got to get your wife on Clubhouse because she sounds brilliant. And I want to do a shameless plug for you, Tony. Let's show your contact information so people can reach out to you, because you are a trainer. You've been doing it for quite some time. You're awesome. I feel like not that I'm robbing people, but when I'm on at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock with you and Don Hobbs and Sam and Russ, like I get so much out of it. I sometimes feel bad. I'm like, I'm stealing. I am stealing. You guys share so much. It is incredible.
Listen,
so
we're sharing it willingly. I mean, you're even sharing my personal cell phone number, which is fine, I guess.
Everybody, forget you saw that. But what's your Instagram handle, Tony?
It's Tony Rodrigues 2.0. Tony Rodrigues 2.0. With Rodrigues with an S. That's probably the best way. Matter of fact, you want to see hear something cool? I didn't know this. If you go on to Google and just hashtag the way I write GetUpNGrow, get up the letter N grow. If you hashtag it, you find me. I'm like, you know, it's I've used that hashtag so many times over the last 6 years that 98% of what you find is me. So you can find me that way. Just hashtag GetUpNGrow on Google and you'll find me.
Well, I encourage everybody to follow Tony, not only in Clubhouse, but also Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and reach out to him because he is a wealth of knowledge. He is awesome at personal growth. He has helped me, and I know that he can help you guys. And you're also with EXP. What?
Yes.
We haven't talked about that.
Yes, I am with EXP, and who knows how much further, what's happening in the future. But yeah, I don't plan on going anywhere. EXP is awesome.
Same.
Got a great surprise banks balance statement a couple of days ago, as I'm sure you did as well.
Yes.
With the company stock, which was a nice surprise. And yeah, it's a great company. I say it all the time. Anyone who's got a real estate license owes it to themselves and their families to at least listen to the opportunity, entertain the idea of it. Because here's a mistake that I made about 2000 and maybe 2013. In 2013, I merged my then office. I had an office. I've been in real estate for 30 years, by the way. I know we probably haven't spoken about that.
Did you get your license when you were 12? 30
No,
years?
I got it when I was 18 because I didn't go to college I didn't go to college because I remember I was told that I was dumb and stupid. I'd never amount to anything. So I didn't want to set myself up for failure. So I never went to college. I'd like to say I do have a PhD, which is a public high school diploma. Yeah, so I got in at 18.
Oh my God.
So about 2013, I joined Keller Williams. Well, so even funnier story before that, which is now probably 25 years ago, when I opened up USA Real Estate, the real estate company that I had, we got a call before we even put a sign in the building. Hey, listen, we're a new real estate company. We want to know if you'd like to be the second Keller Williams office in the Northeast or New Jersey. I'm like, Keller Williams, I looked it up. There's a handful of offices in Middle America and, in the Midwest and a couple in California. I'm like, yeah, no, that's just not. So I'd have been the second real Keller Williams office. And then here's the thing. I guess I didn't learn that lesson. When I changed my office and merged it with Keller Williams, a week before the transaction actually happened, I started getting a call from a guy in Massachusetts, like I owed him money from EXP. And I said, listen, I'm merging my office with Keller Williams, and I didn't even listen to the opportunity. And I always pride myself on listening to the opportunity, and I didn't. And the guy called me for weeks, and then they finally stopped calling. And then, EXP became what it is. And I joined.
Kind of big.
It'll be 3 years in about 2 weeks is my anniversary.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so you joined me and you saw that before I did. It's been awesome. And that's another, it's incredible. Everybody should check it out. Even if you're not in real estate, look at the stock.
I agree. Listen, I just wish I had bought the stock last March. I wish I hadn't sold it in April. I got a bad stock tip from somebody who does really well, and I bought a bunch of stock of different companies, and I sold it all in the middle of April, end of April or something. And I did pretty well. Yet if I had held on to it.
Whatever. Yeah, we can't second guess.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think we're going to be growing for a long time, so it's all good.
Listen, we're only 40 some odd thousand agents strong. There's a couple of million agents in the country. Yeah, I'd say there's a little bit of growth left for us to do.
Exactly.
Never mind the world. We're expanding all over the world. So exciting times ahead, my friend.
Yes, we're in 9 countries, soon to be 100 in the next year or 2 years.
Yeah.
It's something ridiculous. It's like, okay. I just wanted to give a shout out to Leanne. I'm so glad you're watching. And Lisa Fusco, she has got our back, Tony. She supports us every day and sometimes talks, but I've tried to get her up many times to talk, and she says, I will not talk unless I have something really good to share.
Well, listen, we all have something good to share, and the longer you take to share whatever you've got on your heart, the harder it's going to be for you to get up and share. I say this all the time, that our story, your story is yours, but it is not your story to keep. It's yours to share, because by sharing your story, you help other people share theirs. And many times, by sharing our story, we're pulling back the drapes into that dark room and opening the window. And remember that you cannot remove darkness. All you can do is add light. And by doing that, you're adding light and starting the healing process for yourself and helping other people do the same thing. Right? You're helping other people to heal. And we hear this all the time. And I'll probably wrap with this and just say that, we always hear in business that the person at the top of the mountain didn't land there. Right? They didn't land there. And when you equate that to life and you apply that to that same story, the same strategy to life, the person at the top of their game didn't land there. They had to climb that mountain. And, your journey up the mountain, the more arduous, the more difficult, the more painful, the more treacherous it's been, the more important it is for you to journal it and share that story, because your story of your journey up the mountain could be somebody else's survival guide. Because there's people that die on the mountain without ever knowing that there was anything more than just the dark side of the mountain, the north side of the mountain. There's people that don't believe that there's ever a top. There's people that are stuck there now about to give up because they don't realize that there's more than the pain or whatever they're going through. And yet there's other people that are still at the base of the mountain about to start their climb. So share your story. And remember that we all have something to teach. We all have something to share. We are all teachers and we're all students. And
That's
just
awesome.
keep learning. Keep learning.
Well,
Stay
I want to
teachable,
thank
stay
you.
coachable.
I know that you are busy with the Tony Robbins event, Unleash the Power.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate you joining me and my audience and everybody in Facebook and Instagram, and we're everywhere. It'll be shared everywhere. But I thank you for sharing. And everybody, I encourage you, please join us on success.com, Breakfast Club, 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Clubhouse. Learn and grow with us. We want you there.
Awesome. Yes. Join us. And I'll just wrap with this and say, and this is kind of like my public service announcement, and just say this, that if you have the power to help someone, whether it be in real estate, whether it be in business, whether it be in life, help them, because perhaps God is answering their prayers through you. So go out and help somebody. Be that mentor, be that person, help that person, and be the person you wish you had when you were going through whatever trouble you were going through, whether it be in business or relationship, whatever it is. So help somebody else. That's the price we pay for our trip on this earth, as Muhammad Ali said. That's the price we pay, the rent we pay for our journey. So thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank
And
you.
remember that every single time